What is going on, guys? It's your boy Big Gun. Welcome back to another Destiny, but it's more of a Destiny 2 related video. I've just got some random gameplay in the background of the weekly story playlist. Hopefully that'll keep you as entertained whilst I just basically talk. But first things first, I just want to say, if you get triggered very easily of people having opinions on things, or just rant videos, you may want to click out of the video now and not watch it, because I might get quite heated in this, and obviously my opinions might be entirely different to some other people's. So recently, obviously E3's happened, and obviously way back when we saw the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal and all that lot, there's been a lot of mixed opinions about the game, which is obviously good. You want good and bad. Obviously people pick it apart here and there, obviously their opinions on whatever they want, but mostly I've seen a lot of people moaning and complaining and, you know, well, bitching about the game, and how it looks, how it's going to play out. Is it this, is it that, or this is bad, I don't like this, I wanted this, so on and so forth. So basically I'm just going to go down like a little list I've made and just basically give my opinion on each thing, okay? So basically a lot of people have been moaning about the FPS and the servers. So FPS, a lot of people are wanting 60 frames per second on consoles. I know the PC version I think is uncapped, which is great, but obviously for consoles it's going to be locked at 30. Now a lot of people are really annoyed about this, but for me personally, I'm not too bothered. I've been some of the best games I have played in my entire life, when I was a lot younger. Like Halo 3, some of the really old Call of Duties. A lot of these games were all in 30 FPS, and they were great games. There was nothing wrong with them. They're probably some of the best games still to this day. A lot of people, hold these games really high in regards as to being some of the best games out still to this point. So frames per second isn't really going to make the game great. It just makes the game a much smoother and more enjoyable experience for your eyes. Obviously, if you've ever played a 60 frames per second game and then you go back to a 30 frames per second, you'll know exactly what I mean. Your eyes hurt a little bit when you have to readjust to 30 frames. But other than that, it doesn't really add any extra benefit into the game. It's more pleasing to your eyes. Okay. The next thing is dedicated servers. This is obviously again quite a heated topic. A lot of people have been wanting dedicated servers, and for me, like I said, I'm not really too fussed. I feel like Bungie, Destiny Year 1 was great for connections and Crucible, everything, because it was connection based matchmaking. Obviously since they actually added skill based matchmaking into the game, it's got a hell of a lot worse as to what it was. It never used to be nowhere near as bad as it currently is. For any of you guys out there, if you never got to play Destiny in Year 1, you very rarely had anyone lagging in the game. You maybe had one person lagging in about 10 games, if that, but now it's like you've got like multiple people lagging in every single match. And that's because it's trying to find a tight set net of group of people that are roughly around your skill to where the matches are going to be close in score. I feel like this has really hurt the game in general as far as how it performs and how obviously smooth it runs. So for me, one of the big things that I want to be increased is the tick rate. The tick rate on Destiny is very low from my understanding. I think there's been plenty of things in the past where people have sort of gone into it. I know Bungie touched on the subject at one point as well, but basically tick rate is just basically how quick something will register, sort of thing. So it's just, for example, in Destiny, if you've ever been shot through a wall, or a bullet's not registered but theirs did, if you and an enemy trade, just all that sort of stuff, that's sort of on the tick rate side of things. So for me, one of the big things that I wanted improving was the tick rate. Obviously we don't really have any official wording on this yet, but I feel like tick rate would obviously help the game a lot. Next thing I'm going to touch on is the Crucible. Now Crucible is obviously a very big factor into Destiny 2. Bungie seem to be taking Crucible a lot more seriously. I think Dato made a video the other day touching on having no ranked play on launch, or just in general. You know, we're not going to be having ranked play. And I can completely agree with that in a sense that Bungie are trying to push a more competitive, you know, field on the game, but at the same time they're not really supporting it in the way they should. You know, we're not going to have private matches, and we're not going to have all that sort of stuff. I mean, it would be nice to have a, you know, a proper ranking system and private matches. Obviously, you know, after fighting for so long to try and get private matches in Destiny, and we finally got them in like the last year. Yeah, and then to see that we're not going to be having them again. I'm hoping Bungie actually implement them on the first DLC, whenever that releases. I think it's in sometime in December. I think it is. Don't, you know, hold me to that because I could be completely wrong, but I think the rumour was that the first DLC is coming out in the December sort of time, and then we're going to have the other one, like, obviously sometime in 2018 at the start. So basically, as far as things go for Crucible, they're taking it a lot more seriously as far as competitive goes. This is great, I really like it, and a lot of people are saying it's not a casual game anymore. Just because it's a 4v4, it does not mean it is not a casual game. This is the thing I want to get across to a lot of people. I know a lot of people are panicking about it, a lot of people are stressing out. It honestly doesn't affect the game like as much as people are thinking it is gonna. Okay? For example, Halo 3. This is one of my best examples I can give you. Halo 3, for about 4 years, right, had about over 300,000 people playing at all times for 4 years straight. So, I mean, and then you've got to look at that as if in, you know, 1% of that player base out of that, you know, over 300,000 people playing every single day. 1% of that is probably competitive players, and then the other 99% is casual players. Now, Halo was mainly a multiplayer game. Obviously, you had the story that you could go do if you wanted, but other than that, it was mainly multiplayer. You had the casual players, social, and you had like party games sort of stuff, you know. You had obviously custom games that you could go into private matches and obviously do stuff like that, tournaments and everything. But that was a competitive and casual game at the same time. Just because a game takes competitive seriously, it does not mean that it cannot cater towards casuals as well. And this is a big thing that I think Bungie are always scared to do. Obviously within the right mind, obviously they want to cater towards everybody, but I feel like they're really scared to sort of shut a player base off, even though they're not really doing it anyway. But you know, that's just my opinion on it. I know that I also touched on, you know, obviously having rewards for the good players. You know, say if you get into the top division, having like a shader or a weapon skin for that percentage of players. But then obviously the lower down players are never going to probably be able to get that. And then obviously this creates a problem with people moaning, saying, oh, I can't get this weapon skin and I really want it, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Now, this is where Bungie sort of need to think themselves. You know, it's their game. They need to think to themselves, how do they want to do it? Now, in the past, you know, I think Destiny 1 as a whole, I think as a player base, we have pretty much killed Destiny 1 in a nutshell. You know, the matchmaking system's just gone. I mean, it's the worst it's ever been. The meta is probably, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, probably the worst it's ever been. Don't get me wrong, the primary weapon balance is good, but the special weapon ammo situation is probably the worst it's ever been. So like I say, I think Bungie just need to sort of take the time out, rather than just acting straight away on what their player base is saying. Just sort of think about it a little bit, sort of debate, you know, whether this is that, you know, or yeah. I mean, it looks, as far as things go, Destiny 2 looks like it's built from the ground up to be balanced. All the weapon types look perfectly balanced. You know, you're not going to get mapped by a sidearm because you're not within the effective range. Everything looks balanced. From what I've seen, it looks absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's basically touching on Crucible and it not being a casual game. Now, the next thing I'm going to touch on now, this is again another heated topic, and that is the new weapon system. A lot of people are very angry with the new weapon system, with not being able to have a special ammo, or, you know, with a special weapon in Crucible and all this sort of stuff, blah blah blah. Now, let's take a look at the PvE side of things first, and then we'll get into the Crucible. So for PvE, not having a special weapon, what does that basically mean? Probably not a lot, okay? Obviously Bungie are going to be tweaking boss fights and raid encounters and all that sort of stuff. They're going to be tweaking and balancing all of these fights and raids around the new weapon system. They're not going to take into consideration, oh, these guys have got, you know, 20 shots of sniper, and then they've got, you know, say 8 sleeper stimulant shots or whatever. You know, they're not going to be balancing the game around that. Obviously they're going to be taking into the new weapon combinations into consideration. There might be more mechanics, you know, to damage the enemies now. You know, sort of like damage the enemy enough to sort of get the shield off with mechanics, and then you sort of shoot the enemies to deal damage to them with your health, so on and so forth. There's multiple ways they can do it, and obviously that's the way you've got to look at it. I know a lot of people are sort of saying as well, like, oh, but I want to be able to snipe in PvE. You know, I enjoyed sniping and, you know, picking enemies off from the back, and that was my playstyle. But at the same time, you know, like I said, it's just, I feel like people don't like change, and I feel like it's just sort of, a lot of the people that are judging the game already and bitching about certain things that they don't like in Destiny 2 haven't even played the game yet. You know, they've not even given it a chance before it's even released. I mean, personally, for me, everything I've seen, I cannot wait to play. Crucible looks awesome. PvE obviously looks to me to be awesome as well. I cannot wait to get my hands on Destiny 2. I don't think there's a bad thing I can really say about Destiny 2, other than probably the PlayStation exclusivity content. That's probably the only kick in the teeth that there is in Destiny, okay? Other than that, I can't complain about anything. So yeah, the new weapon system for PvE, I don't think it's anything to worry about. For Crucible, obviously this is where it comes in, and this is where I'm going to get probably a little bit, how shall I word this? I'm going to get pretty blunt with what I'm going to say. Now, there's a lot of people saying, oh, but I like to snipe. At the end of the day, you should not be able to spawn with a one-hit weapon. It takes no skill, and camping at the back of the map, sniping, or rushing around with a shotgun, or maining a sidearm, or using a fusion rifle does not take nowhere near as much skill as it would take if you were to have to use a primary weapon. Now, Bungie are trying to promote a primary focused game. Now, one of the main games, again, that comes to mind when I think of primary gunplay is Halo. Obviously, Halo has a lot of primary focus, then you do have a power weapon for snipers and rockets, okay? Power weapon ammo is going to work similar to how Halo power weapons work with the sniper and the rockets. To me, this is perfect. Obviously, it's going to reward, obviously, a lot more teamwork. You're going to have to decide who is the better sniper or who is the better rocket user with your team. You know, then obviously that sniper or rocket player that obviously picks the ammo up, you're going to have to work with that teammate to rotate them around the map, push the enemy spawn, try and flank, obviously get positions on the map that benefits that person with that power weapon. So see, it's going to promote a lot more skill, and this is sort of a thing that I've been wanting in Destiny's Crucible for such a long time. It's just a skill gap. I mean, that's as blunt as I can put it. There's also a lot of people, I'm not trying to shit on anyone here or call anyone out or anything like that, but there's a lot of people saying, you know, oh, but I can't make montages anymore. You know, it's going to be really hard to hit clips. At the end of the day, the purpose of a game is not to make a fucking montage, you know what I mean? I feel like people are just looking at it from the wrong standpoint, you know, from the wrong viewpoint. I just feel like it's kind of stupid to think of things like that. At the end of the day, you know, hitting a triple with a sniper, you may think that's impressive. If you do, congratulations, but for me, I don't really care. It's a power, you know, it's basically a power weapon. It's easy to do, you know, it's just whatever. And obviously there's just a lot of luck involved with it. If you was to hit a triple kill with a primary weapon, on the other hand, then that's impressive, you know. That's something to really sort of look at and be like, you know, no way, as if I just got a triple kill with my primary. Like, I just got I literally just outgunned 3 people, you know, in a row. That's something to be proud of. Obviously, this is sort of like probably maybe the new direction montages will go. Maybe get 1 or 2 kills with your primary, pull out your power weapon if you've got ammo, maybe pop 1 or 2 people off with that, activate your super, go in with that, you know, maybe kill 1 or 2 people with that. Like I said, it's the wrong standpoint to be looking at things from a montage point of view. I can understand where people are coming from. Obviously some people like to make, you know, nice montages and nice clips and all that sort of stuff, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's the wrong way to look at it. I think, as far as, like I said, the weapon balance in Destiny 2 looks to be the best it has ever looked in Destiny. Like I said, the reason I'm actually making this is because I'm just sort of, I know I'm complaining myself, you know, it's kind of ironic that I'm complaining about people complaining, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of tired about people complaining about a game they haven't even played. I feel like it's kind of pathetic, and at this point I just feel like we're sort of, I've never played a game where a community moans so much when the developers give us what we want, you know, and it's just sort of, I feel sorry for Bungie in a sense that, I mean, Bungie have been so open about so much stuff with Destiny 2, and I feel like that obviously needs to be addressed, and obviously we need to thank them for that. You know, they've talked about the frame rate, they've talked about servers, they've talked about things they've invested in, they've talked about weapon balance and certain things that they might be bringing to the game. They've talked about the certain views on certain things that they're going to be, you know, obviously why they did certain things the way they did them. And this is something that we need to be thanking Bungie for, not throwing shade and hate at Bungie. Now I know a lot of the criticism is to help Bungie. Obviously a lot of people criticise things as if into, obviously maybe have 1 or 2 things improved, or for the future of Destiny, maybe we might get 60 FPS, we might get servers. You know, all this stuff would be nice to have, but obviously Bungie just haven't invested into it, or just didn't think it was as important as other things. The main things that I would like for Destiny 2, like I said, is just for a tick rate increase, so things register properly, and so I don't really get shot through walls as often, and just a fair matchmaking system. And it looks like they've already sorted that out with a casual and sort of like a ranked or competitive playlist. I think they've planned on doing. So I mean, that looks to have fixed it. You know, if in the casual playlist, if it's just straight up connection based matchmaking, and I can just hop on, use whatever weapons I want, and just kick back and relax, do a few games, and then go offline, that's perfect. But then if there's a competitive playlist as well, where I can go in with a full stack team, and we can go up against other good stack teams, and obviously try and compete for who is the better team, that's great as well. Give me that option if I want to go into a sweaty game, or if I don't want to go into a sweaty game. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. I know it's been a long talk, and I've been talking now for almost 20 minutes, but I needed to get this off my chest because I've seen far too many people moaning and complaining recently, and I feel like it's just sort of unnecessary. I feel like people haven't even given the game a chance. They've not even given the new weapon system a chance, and they've already started to dislike it and sort of throw shade at it and say, oh, it's pointless, or this is that. Just give it a chance, wait for the game to come out, and just enjoy the game. After all, we're all gamers, we all enjoy playing video games. Let's just enjoy the game for once. Let's just try. Obviously, like I said, there's good criticism to give, and obviously certain opinions and things, but it's got to come to a certain point where there's too much bitching going on, and we just sort of need to wait for the beta's next month, you know, and then obviously I'll be uploading my thoughts on the beta. I'll play it, obviously, a hell of a lot. Playing PvE stuff so much. I'll be playing Crucible a hell of a lot as well, testing things, testing out the weapons, the balance, and all that sort of stuff. This is all stuff to look forward to. For me personally, there's not a thing wrong with Destiny 2 as to what I've seen so far. Everything I am absolutely hyped for, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the game. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and peace.